I'm sorry, Mr. Dorilla. This insurance card, it's a fake. You have no coverage.
Dorilla gasps for air, clutching his chest in the dark jungle night, suddenly realizing he is entirely on his own. Imagine hauling heavy timber for 40 grueling years, saving every dime, only to be turned away at the hospital doors when your heart finally gives out. A lifetime of dignity, wiped out by a single catastrophic medical bill, leaving you facing the terrifying reality of losing your home just to survive the night. But the most horrifying part? Dorilla didn't buy this phantom medical plan in a dark alley. He bought it from a smiling government-approved expert on national television. Right now, millions of seniors across the US and Canada are holding worthless plastic cards in their wallets, and they won't discover the trap until it's a matter of life and death. For 4 decades, Dorilla the gorilla was the undisputed anchor of the valley. He woke before the morning mist, moving boulders and hauling timber. He never complained. He never asked for a handout. His entire life was built on a singular, sacred promise. If you work hard and pay into the system, the great canopy will protect you when your strength fades. As Dorilla aged, his massive shoulders began to stoop. A sharp, unpredictable flutter in his chest reminded him that his time of invincibility had passed. But he felt safe. He carried the revered red, white, and blue shield, the traditional health coverage earned by a lifetime of labor. Then came the autumn open enrollment. The jungle drums began to beat, not with music, but with a relentless, terrifying noise. Dorilla's mailbox was suddenly stuffed with aggressive, flashing letters stamped with fake government seals. His television screamed warnings that his current shield was obsolete, dangerous, and expensive. The safety he had relied on his entire life was suddenly framed as a ticking time bomb. Dorilla wasn't just confused. For the first time in his life, he was profoundly afraid.
Out of the terrifying noise walked Kitsune the fox. Kitsune didn't look like a predator. He looked like a savior. Dressed in a crisp, tailored suit and carrying a glowing tablet, Kitsune knocked directly on Dorilla's treehouse door. He flashed a glossy badge that looked incredibly official, radiating warmth and absolute authority.
The old system is failing you, Dorilla,
Kitsune whispered smoothly, sitting at Dorilla's kitchen table.
You're paying for coverage you don't use, while the elites get the VIP treatment.
Kitsune miraculously knew Dorilla's exact medical history, a fact that should have sparked terror, but instead it manufactured instant, dangerous trust. Sitting across the table was Saru, the monkey, Dorilla's younger, deeply impulsive cousin. Saru's eyes were wide, completely mesmerized by Kitsune's slick presentation. Saru leaned in, captivated by the colorful charts on the glowing screen. Kitsune wasn't speaking to Dorilla's intellect. He was speaking to Saru's greed and Dorilla's fear of being left behind. The trap was set in the very place Dorilla felt safest, his own home.
Kitsune unveiled his masterpiece, the VIP $0 canopy plan.
0 premiums,
Kitsune purred, swiping his screen to reveal glossy images of healthy, laughing seniors.
We give you a free gym membership, free dental fruit basket, and we even put money back into your monthly check.
Dorilla squinted, his decades of hard-earned wisdom pushing back.
How can it be free?
He rumbled. But Kitsune smiled a razor-sharp grin, leaning forward to deliver the kill shot.
Because you earned it, Dorilla. Why let the government steal your money when I can give it back to you?
Saru leaped up, practically shaking Dorilla by the shoulders.
Look at the perks, old man. Free money, free gyms. You'd be a fool to stay on the old system.
Kitsune then glanced at his heavy gold watch, his voice dropping to a serious, urgent whisper.
The enrollment window closes in exactly 1 hour. If you don't sign now, you are locked out of this VIP tier forever.
Panic spiked in Dorilla's chest. The fear of missing out violently collided with the fear of financial ruin. Kitsune slid a glossy 300-page digital contract across the table. Dorilla scrolled down, his heavy fingers struggling with the screen. He searched for the name of his trusted village doctor, the owl who had treated his chest pains for 20 years.
My doctor isn't on this list,
Dorilla said, his voice dropping low, a sudden knot of dread forming in his stomach. The contract felt heavy, suffocating, but Kitsune didn't flinch. He laughed, a warm, dismissive sound.
Oh, the network directory updates at midnight. Dr. Owl is being added tomorrow, guaranteed.
It was a blatant, calculated lie. Dorilla hesitated, the cold sweat of instinct prickling the back of his neck. He looked at the red, white, and blue shield card in his wallet, the one that had never failed him. But Saru aggressively shoved a stylus into Dorilla's hand.
Don't be a dinosaur, Dorilla. Everyone is doing this. Sign it.
The pressure in the room was crushing. Dorilla closed his eyes, ignoring the screaming alarms in his gut, desperate to appease his family and secure his future. Dorilla pressed the stylus to the glass. A loud digital ka-chunk echoed from the tablet. It didn't sound like a promise. It sounded exactly like a steel vault slamming shut. Kitsune's warm smile instantly vanished, replaced by a cold, business-like smirk. He reached across the table, took Dorilla's trusted red, white, and blue shield card, and pulled a pair of silver scissors from his jacket. With a sharp snip, he cut Dorilla's lifelong security directly in half.
You won't be needing this anymore,
Kitsune said, tossing the pieces into the trash. He handed Dorilla a flimsy, shiny piece of plastic. 3 months passed in eerie silence. The free fruit baskets never arrived. The gym was 3 towns over. Then, on a freezing Tuesday morning, the flutter in Dorilla's chest exploded into a violent, agonizing gripping sensation. He fell to the forest floor, gasping for air. The real test of the VIP plan had arrived, and Dorilla was about to find out that the parachute he bought was completely hollow. Sirens screamed. The emergency room was a blur of harsh white lights and shouting voices. Dorilla woke up hours later, staring at a sterile ceiling, his chest heavily bandaged. He reached for a glass of water, but his hand brushed against a thick folded piece of paper resting on his bedside tray. He opened it. The number at the bottom of the bill was $150,000. A hospital administrator stood in the doorway, her face grim.
I'm sorry, Dorilla. Your VIP plan denied the claim.
Dorilla frantically dialed Kitsune's number. Beep, beep.
The number you have reached is disconnected.
The administrator explained the brutal truth. The VIP plan required prior authorization for emergencies, an impossible demand when you are unconscious. Dorilla's trusted doctor was out of network. The flimsy plastic card covered absolutely nothing. Dorilla's entire life savings, his treehouse, his legacy, all of it was instantly vaporized by a single hidden clause. He was ruined.
2 weeks later, Dorilla sat in the dark of his treehouse, quietly packing his belongings into a single wooden crate. The medical debt collectors were coming at dawn to foreclose on his home. The crushing shame was worse than the heart attack. He had failed. Suddenly, a slow, deliberate knock echoed through the wood. The door creaked open, and Kame the turtle stepped inside. Kame moved with the absolute calm of a creature who had witnessed 100 market crashes and 1,000 scams. He didn't offer pity. He picked up the flimsy VIP card from the table, examined it, and tossed it directly into the fireplace. It melted into toxic black smoke.
A predator convinced you to trade a solid oak shield for a paper umbrella, Dorilla.
Kame said, his voice deep and unshakable.
But you are not the first. There is a trail of bodies in this jungle. The predators rely on your shame to keep you silent. They want you to pack your bags and disappear. But tonight, we do not pack. Tonight, we go to war.
Kame unrolled a massive canvas map on the table, revealing the hidden architecture of the healthcare fraud. He didn't use confusing jargon. He exposed the raw psychology of the scam. They call it advantage, but the advantage belongs entirely to the fox, Kame explained, tapping the map with his cane.
These private plans take the money the great canopy would have spent on you, and they keep it as profit. How? By building a phantom net. They build a network of doctors who are never available. They create rules so complex, by the time you realize you're falling, the net has already dissolved.
Saru stood in the corner, his face pale, tears welling in his eyes. He finally realized that his greed for free perks had practically signed his cousin's death warrant. Kame looked directly at Saru.
You chased the shiny bait and ignored the steel hook. In the second half of life, if someone offers you a completely free lunch, you are the one on the menu.
The brutal truth hung in the air. The illusion was dead. But Kame wasn't there just to teach. He was there to extract Dorilla from the jaws of the trap.
The foxes think they hold all the cards,
Kame smiled, a fierce glint in his eye. But they violated the sacred laws of the canopy.
They lied about your doctor.
Kame revealed a hidden, little-known weapon, the Special Enrollment Period. It was a secret escape hatch designed specifically for seniors who were aggressively manipulated or lied to during enrollment. But the clock was ticking. They had less than 24 hours before the debt collectors seized the property. Kame and Dorilla spent the entire night gathering the deceptive mailers, pulling phone records, and documenting Kitsune's exact lies. As the sun crested the horizon, Kame dialed the direct line to the federal watchdogs, the highest authority in the jungle. He didn't beg. He presented an airtight, irrefutable case of deceptive marketing and predatory fraud. The operator on the other end went completely silent. The suspense was suffocating. If this failed, Dorilla would be homeless by noon. The heavy, suffocating tension broke with a single sentence from the operator. Fraud confirmed. Enrollment reversed. Dorilla collapsed into his chair, weeping tears of absolute, profound relief. The fraudulent plan was retroactively erased. His massive medical debt was shifted back to the original, secure system. Weeks later, the jungle authorities raided Kitsune's neon-lit den, shattering the glowing screens and shutting down the phantom operation for good. A new piece of mail arrived at the treehouse. Dorilla opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a brand-new, crisp red, white, and blue shield card. He held it tightly, feeling the weight of true, undeniable security return to his life. Dorilla stepped out onto his porch, looking directly into the camera, his voice rumbling with hard-earned power.
Your health is not a jungle casino. Your life savings are not a game. Protect your shield, and never ever let a smiling fox rush you into the dark.